Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be comparing Zenn Tweaks, the pro player, versus Risxn Tweaks. This is going to be Risxn's extreme utility versus Zenn's tweaking utility. Zenn's utility comes in at $24.99 and Risxn's utility comes in at 30 USD, but of course if you use code Hydra15 you can get 15% off and get it for around $25. However, assuming that we don't have coupon codes for either of them, Zenn Tweaks is around $5 cheaper than Risxn. Specs for this test will be an i7-10700F, 16GB of DDR4 RAM running at 3000 mega transfers a second, and on a 1660 Super. This will be done for all future tests. And for the base Windows test, it will be the same results for their future tests to save time on these videos. The first utility we're going to be testing is Zenn Tweaks utility. The first impressions were not that great, as soon as I bought off the payhip, I did get a TXT and a 7-zip file that's stated here, but I just feel it's very sloppy because if I go to the TXT file, it tells me two download links, which are both the exact same file, it tells me the password. I did get a license key in my email, and it did work, which was nice, but no problems. But this is just overall not a very nice experience for a utility, especially if I'm spending $25 for it. But I have my license key documentation and the DLL for the UI. Let's go ahead and open this. I have to run as admin. Wow. Okay. I did expect it to be a lot nicer, especially from our pro player, and they're charging premium prices. But don't judge a book by its cover. This could very much be good. So I'm actually going to do all this in the recording, because unless this opens another UI to more tweaks, this can be very short. Oh, well, okay. That does that. Power tweaks. Oh. Okay. Memory tweaks. Okay, no pop-up for that. Network tweaks. There we go. And timer resolution. Oh, okay. And it says that we need to restart my PC to apply changes. So let's go ahead and do that and see the results after. Alright, let's go ahead and check out the Risxn Tweaks Extreme Utility. For first impressions, this is definitely beating Zenn's utility in looks. I mean, it has just a lot more useful information. It has a guide if you're lost, my CPU, GPU usage, that's important right now, and my specs on my PC. They have a lot of Windows optimizations, a lot of network optimizations, but they are Ethernet only. Lots of DBLA optimizations for every GPU, hopefully Intel coming soon, and some extra optimizations with specific game optimizations and CPU and DirectX tweak. This is definitely going to be Zenn in the looks category, but we will see how they compare to each other. For the stock OS, it had a download speed of 278.4, an upload speed of 43.3, and a ping recording of 34. For the Zenn Tweaks, it had a download speed of 240, an upload of 8.9, and a ping recording of 30. For Risxn Tweaks, had a download speed of 283.4, an upload speed of 48.1, and a ping of 40. I believe the stock and Risxn test were just margin of errors because they were just not far enough apart for a meaningful difference. They were also recorded at different times of the day. However, Zenn Tweaks had a much lower download speed and a much lower upload speed. I believe running that utility actually worsened my download and upload speeds, therefore giving Risxn Tweaks the win, and Zenn just being humiliated by even the stock OS. For the stock OS, it had a process count of 135, but the Zenn Tweaks count, it actually had a higher process count than the stock OS, being at 146, and for Risxn Tweaks, it had a process count of 64, giving Risxn Tweaks the win, and Zenn, this is ridiculous. How are you gonna add processes to the registry, trying to improve my FPS? Yeah, it's not looking good for Zenn. For the stock OS, it had a highest process recorded latency of 126.7, with an average of 10.33. It had a highest DCP latency of 1097.3, with an average of 6.83. For Zenn, it had the highest process latency recorded, being 448, with the average being 5.38. The highest DCP latency recorded was 423.3, with an average of being 1.71. Risxn Tweaks had a highest process latency of 72.3, an average of 2.66. The highest DCP latency being 70.9, and the average being 1.36. Once again, giving Risxn Tweaks a point. And yeah, the Zenn Tweaks did lower both process latency of the highest and average, but Risxn just blows it out of the water. Not looking good for Zenn at all. The stock OS came at an average GPU usage of 60% and an average CPU usage of 30. It also had a RAM usage of just below 8 GB, an average FPS of 224, and a maximum FPS of 279. Zenn had an average GPU usage of 50 and an average CPU usage of 30. The RAM usage was just above 7.5 GB usage. Had an average FPS of 121, which is honestly just humiliating, and a maximum FPS of 295. Risxn Tweaks had an average CPU usage of 60 and an average GPU usage of 60 as well. Had just above 7 GB of RAM usage, an average FPS of 250, and a maximum FPS of 374, giving Risxn Tweaks the win by a huge amount. I just wanted to add this in the video as well, but the Zenn power plan is so completely terrible that the power efficient power plan literally beats it in performance. I'm on Zenn Tweaks, I was getting around 150. If I switch to power saving and I go back in, I'm getting around 200, 180. I'll switch that back as well, because this is so humiliating that a paid tweak power plan is doing this. I'm barely getting 100. That power plan is god awful. I'm also almost using 10 GB of RAM, might I add. Please don't buy Zenn Tweaks. They are absolutely dog crap. Horrible. If you purchase any product from RisxnTweaks.com, make sure to use code HYDRA15 at checkout for 15% off all products.